The Steam Deck is an absolutely amazing handheld device, thanks hugely to the fantastic game library that it has available to it. The first games I played on the Steam Deck really made me appreciate the power and the capabilities of this system. What's the first thing you think when buying a new console? What games can I play on this system? And when you get that system, what games do you actually have available to you to play as soon as you get it? And this is where the Steam Deck is amazing. Tapping into the Steam library, a library that many of us gamers already have built up over the years with games that we know and love. The Steam Deck instantly has loads of your favorite games available for you to play. But what's even more amazing is that the Steam Deck gives you access to retro games, and that's even before we consider emulation. Some of the best indie and PC gaming titles, as well as AAA games as well, giving access to one of the most varied and unique game libraries you could ever expect. And the first games I played on the Steam Deck really opened up my eyes to this. Unreal Tournament Game of the Year Edition was the first game I played on the Steam Deck, a game that has so much nostalgia for me, a game I used to play so much in the early 2000s. Unreal and Quake for me are the forefathers of first-person shooter deathmatch games, and Unreal Tournament for me is the unrivaled king of the hill. Modern first-person shooters and deathmatch games have changed the formula a bit too much for me, focusing a lot on level progression, carrying around your two favorite guns. It just doesn't have that same raw, visceral and unadulterated intensity that games like Unreal Tournament had. Running around like crazy, picking up as many items as you could find and as many weapons as you could, so that the next person that crossed your path was gonna get obliterated. Weapons like the Redeemer and the Flat Cannon for me are still some of the best weapons to have ever graced video games. And to be able to jump back and experience that nostalgia in the palm of my hand in a game that is still currently supported was absolutely amazing. Deathmatch gaming has evolved so much, and also into the likes of battle royales as well, with Epic, the creators of Unreal, now being behind Fortnite. For me, it was really nice to go back and experience the nostalgia of that raw gameplay, and a game which still really holds up incredibly well today. Furthermore, Unreal Tournament Game of the Year Edition is a game that isn't fully verified on the Steam. It's classed currently as just playable, which means it hasn't gone through all of Valve's checks yet. But regardless, it plays amazingly on the system, with the controls working absolutely perfectly. Being able to navigate the menus using the trackpad and using the full gamepad setup to enjoy the game itself. Unreal Tournament is an absolutely fantastic game, and a game I recommend for anyone that wants that nostalgia, or even any new gamers who want to see where it all started. Neon Abyss is an absolutely amazing roguelike game that feels like it was created for the Steam Deck, incorporating some slick run and gun mechanics as well as some Metroidvania style levels. Neon Abyss has some absolutely gorgeous graphics and throws you straight into the gameplay. Gameplay which is absolutely silky smooth, because this is a fully verified game on the system. And you can tell that by the way the game controls and the way the game feels. The run and gun gameplay on this is really where it shines, and it is just so smooth. But if you throw into that the absolutely amazing and gorgeous visuals, as well as the really awesome storyline and brilliant humor, Neon Abyss is just such a fantastic game to pick up and go. And this is why Neon Abyss feels like it was designed for the Steam Deck, because it perfectly encapsulates that ability to just pick it up and have a quick go whenever you feel like. Something that I think is in thanks to the roguelike style of the game as well. Touching back on the humor, one of my favorite things about Neon Abyss is the weapons as well. And when I say weapons, I mean cats, because pretty much straight away you pick up cats and they shoot projectiles, and they are your weapons of choice. And as you progress through the game, you come across different cats which even have names which make them almost feel like pets to you. So when you do come across another cat, you have that heart-wrenching moment of, do I give up my original cat and try this new one out, or do I stick with my pet? And it is just such a fantastic gameplay formula, with some amazing level design, some really intelligent progression, and fantastic boss fights as well. Neon Abyss is definitely a game you should add to your Steam library to check out on your Steam Deck. The next game I played on the Steam Deck was the Stanley Parable, a game I've had in my Steam library for ages, a game I wanted to play after playing the beginner's guide, and a game that is incredibly unique. I could only expect to find it on Steam, because it's the best of what indie games can be. It really pushes the limits of what a video game is, yet gives you an amazingly polished experience as well. These are the kinds of games that I wish we would see more from bigger developers, but I'm so thankful that we get to see from indie developers. The Stanley Parable puts you in the position of an office worker that has an incredibly mundane job. But strange things start to happen, and as you progress through the story, initially it feels like something you can complete pretty quickly, but the reality is there are so many different options and aspects to the game. It's a game that questions what you do in video games and the decisions you make, and whether you really have a choice and the impact you can make as well. The Stanley Parable is a game that genuinely and truly offers different paths and options, and I'm not just talking about a few decisions that give you a different cutscene at the end. Your entire progression, your entire story, the way the game interacts with you can be completely different, even down to the simplest of decisions like which door you want to go through. The Stanley Parable on the surface seems like such a simple game, but it is such a complex masterpiece, and a game which completely blows my mind when it comes to what we can think about and expect from a video game. As I got my Steam Deck around Halloween time, I had to try out some horror games, and a game that I've had on my list for ages to play was Alien Isolation, but I never really felt like I had the time to sit down and enjoy that game properly, to put the time into it. But on the Steam Deck I thought this could be perfect. It gives me the opportunity to play it whenever I get spare time. My concern though was if it would still be as immersive, if it would still be as enjoyable, and if the Steam Deck could handle the processing power needed for a game like that. But in the end my concerns were non-existent, because Alien Isolation on the Steam Deck is an absolutely amazing experience. Creeping around and trying to be stealthy in that space station, all the while feeling like a xenomorph is breathing down your neck, is absolutely amazing, and the immersion that a Steam Deck can give you with that large screen, and especially when you have earbuds in, is unlike anything before. Alien Isolation just plays so well on the Steam Deck, and it is a game I am absolutely hooked to. Having those earbuds in and hearing every little creak, every little drip, every little knock, every drop really sends chills down your spine, and the fact of it being in the palm of your hands somehow just makes it feel more intense because the screen's so close to you as well. Normally I stop playing horror games after Halloween, but with Alien Isolation, I just cannot put this game down. It is so good, I am hooked. And it's no doubt thanks to the immense immersion that the Steam Deck can provide. A game I've had in my Steam Deck library and wanted to play for the longest time, but felt like I needed to sit down at a mouse and keyboard to play, is Shadow Tactics. But once again, the Steam Deck has absolutely blown me away with its capabilities to deal with the games in its library. Shadow Tactics is a stealth real-time strategy set in historic Japan. Starting out as a single character and ninja, pretty soon you start to grow your team with a samurai and some other amazing characters as well. Shadow Tactics is a really in-depth game which requires a lot of different controls, which is why I thought I needed a keyboard and mouse. But somehow the Steam Deck has managed to incorporate all of those controls, the ability to scout the area, to make planned attacks, to even synchronize attacks with other characters, is all done with complete ease using the Steam Deck controls. Genuinely a task which I thought would be far too much for any control pad to deal with. All of a sudden I can't imagine any other way playing Shadow Tactics. It feels like it is perfect on the Steam Deck. Being able to move around the camera, scout the areas, plan those synchronized attacks is an absolute pleasure and a complete breeze, leaving you able to focus purely on the tactics and the strategy needed in this game. I'm a huge stealth fan, and Shadow Tactics is a stealth game unlike any other I've played before. The closest thing I could liken it to is if you got the game Commandos and Tenchu Stealth Assassins and combine the two. Both of those amazing games, and the combination of them is absolutely phenomenal. Shadow Tactics is an absolutely brilliant game, and a game that truly shows the capabilities of the Steam Deck and how the Steam Deck can deal with games that are traditionally designed for a PC format, but somehow now just seem to be a perfect fit for this amazing device. But we are just scratching the surface. There is so much more to talk about the Steam Deck and so many more games to explore, and we can get straight into that right now by checking out this video right here.